I honestly can't wait for the finals to come out. I've been part of 3 early tests so far, and each subsequent test has been better than the last. The finals is looking to be the first game to come out from Embark Studios, with another shooter, Arc Raiders, in the works. The finals is a squad-based shooter with teams of 3 facing off against each other in objective-based game modes. Currently, the main objective mode is called Cash Out. You crack open vaults, grab the money, and take them to the nearest cash out station where you have to defend it to secure the cash. Depending on which variant of cash out you're playing, the team who reaches the cash limit first, or whoever has the most cash at the end of the match wins. This game is a nice breath of fresh air in the FPS scene. What makes this game special is the fast-paced gameplay and the unique classes and equipment, coupled with the freedom to destroy the environment around you. And not to mention that they have tournament format game modes as well. Among the many things that make me excited for the finals is the amazing team of devs at Embark Studios that are currently working on the game. I used mobygames.com to look at the work some of the devs have been credited with, so I don't know with 100% certainty how reliable this information is, but I'll assume it's legit for the most part. If anyone watching knows a better database, feel free to post it in the comment section so I can reference it for future games I come across. Now, I wasn't able to find the names of every single dev out of the 100 plus people working on the finals, but the majority of the ones I was able to look up worked for DICE previously on the Battlefield games, among other IPs under DICE. And to those of you who may see this as a red flag, don't worry, these guys did not work on Battlefield 2042. Embark was founded 3 years before the release of 2042. The earliest Battlefield entry that I could find in their collective portfolios was Battlefield 2 back in 2005. Some of the other noteworthy IPs a few of the devs have also worked on are PUBG, Fable, The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, Mirror's Edge, World of Tanks, and Crysis. And I bet it's safe to say that there's a lot more games that they also had a part in making. With this amazing work history, I'd wager that the finals has the potential to become the next big FPS game in the coming years. And before I even looked into the dev's work history, I remember that the first time I played the finals, it felt reminiscent of Bad Company 2. Personally speaking, I couldn't shake the feeling that I've played a game like this during the first test, and wouldn't you know that once I looked into the development team at Embark Studios, there was a reason I felt that way. Rob Runison, who is one of the founders of Embark and a chief content officer of the finals team, was actually the head of the art team for Bad Company 2. And another founder, Patrick Soderlin, who used to be the CEO of DICE, was the general manager for Bad Company 2. Now, I'm not saying that they're the same game, but it feels more like an evolution of the Battlefield series as a whole. To me, the finals feels like the spiritual successor to Bad Company 2. They share the same sort of style in my eyes. Next, I'm going to show side-by-side comparisons between the finals and Bad Company 2. Here's one of the first examples of what I'm talking about. With the grenades, see how there's a tag on both grenade pins? And of course we can't forget about the destruction when talking about these games. I want to mention that for those of you who hasn't played the finals yet, but are familiar with the Battlefield games, that the buildings don't kill you when they fall on you. For the AK-47 clip, on the Bad Company 2 side there's a visual FX bug called ADS on the PC version. Honestly, I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison of Battlefield 3 and 4 as well, but I mainly played those games on console when they released. While I do own those games on PC, I never played them enough to unlock the weapons that are also featured in the finals. The finals to me feels like a modernized version of Bad Company 2 with abilities, special equipment, character customization, and better movement. From this point forward, I'm just going to show regular gameplay while talking about more things to make me excited about this game. Everything I'm going to mention comes from the Meet the Makers podcast I did during the second closed beta. I'll leave the link in the description and in a pinned comment for those who want to give it a listen as well. The guy who did the kill sound effect for Battlefield 1 works at Embark. And also did the kill sound effect for the finals.
Are out. Now's a chance for their last.
They mentioned that they're using Battlefield 1's sound effects as a template for the finals. They talked about introducing more game modes in the future, and possibly a permanent mode or two, but most likely they're going to experiment with seasonal game modes to keep the game fresh and exciting. They also mentioned messing with the numbers of teams and team sizes as possibilities for these possible game modes. Believe it or not, there's actually some hidden story elements in the game. They've hidden the lore throughout the arenas we play in. One of the devs specifically posed a question, "What is the labyrinth?" when asked if there were story elements in the game. They talk about adding more weapons in the future, but it's not going to be anything like Tarkov where they add in 50 AK variants. They're definitely thinking about adding more melee weapons and more varied gun types. I can attest to this, because they've pretty much doubled the amount of weapons and equipment you can use in the game when I think back to the first early test I was a part of. This next piece of information is a bit of a downer for me, unfortunately, but they talked about adding a bow into the game because there's one guy on the team who is a bow fanatic. Personally, I despise seeing bows in games with guns, but I am keenly aware that a lot of people like using bows, so it's not a deal breaker for me. They mentioned bringing back the cannons from the first early test, and talked about introducing the Wrecking Ball from the teaser video. Here's the Wrecking Ball from the teaser slowed down. They plan to innovate and experiment for the lifetime of the game. Their core focus will be making the game fun to play above all else. Rob talked about bringing dragons into the game, but I'm unsure if he's serious or not. Bringing dragons into the game was a recurring topic in the podcast. Personally speaking, I think it would be cool if they had a special in-game event for dragons, similar to the Meteor event. I can just imagine a giant dragon sweeping the map, carpet bombing buildings in a straight line with fire, causing massive destruction, and leaving debris in its wake. One thing that is unique to this game is that movement and destruction calculations happen server-side and not client-side, which explains why the movement didn't feel so good in the closed early test. When I played the open beta, I didn't notice any issues with the movement, but I also have fiber internet, so I don't know if that's a potential reason why my experience was so good. They talk a lot about playing the games themselves, which is good to hear. I know this might not sound like a big deal to some people, but you'd be surprised at how often developers at larger studios don't actually know how to play their own games.
Most of an architecture degree, realized this is really not what I wanted to do, and then game design programs started popping up all over the place, so I hopped into one of those. I have died.
Hold on.
Some World Tier 1. Yeah, no, she could have played better for sure. Definitely could have played better. It's just like, I don't even know. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think that Blizzard really had a huge L with this video. Because they put two people that, like, clearly, like, they don't have a lot of experience playing this game. They have no idea what they're doing. Anybody that plays the game knows that.
And for the last bits of info, I'll end it with some fun facts. Supposedly the guy who made Namatama, which is the egg mascot, Never heard of Humpty Dumpty before creating him. To create the coin death sound effect, they got $300 worth of Swedish crowns and coins, and threw it against a concrete slab they took from a construction site. The construction worker on site said, "Just take it, I don't care," when they asked if they could borrow it, which I thought was pretty funny. And during the making of the podcast, they actually still had the concrete slab. If you want to hear more about what else they had to say, don't forget to check the link in the description and pinned comment for the podcast. And if you want to learn more or keep up to date with the game, you can join their official Discord server. I'll also leave the link for that in the description and pinned comment. To those of you that made it this far in the video, thank you. I appreciate you. Now, I know all of you are smart and intelligent people, so I don't need to tell you how these buttons work, right? Of course not. Also, if you want to talk about video games or whatever, you can head over to twitch.tv/honestpug to catch one of my streams. You can find out whenever I go live by checking my Twitter. Currently, I'm giving away free PC games based off of my follower goals. I have at least over 200 games to give away, listed under the giveaways channel in my Discord. And once again, thank you for watching my video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Be safe out there, and until next time.